Hello everyone, this is Srimo and welcome to Genius Math Minds. In this video we have a problem from Let's Solve series. So this problem involves the Venn diagram which we saw earlier. So this is in an examination, 30% of the total students failed in Hindi, 45% failed in English and 20% failed in both subjects. So this is the interesting thing about Venn diagrams. It is we can actually relate it or we mostly get problems which will happen in real life. So that's why Venn diagrams are very interesting. So we have 30% of fail in Hindi, 45% fail in English and 20% fail in both subjects. So find the percentage of students who passed in both. So first, if a student is failed even in one subject, then we should not consider that because they should be passed in both subjects. So we need to find the number of students who failed at least in one subject. So we need to find the number of students who failed at least in one subject. So that is either in one subject or they have failed in both subjects. So if we find the number of students who have failed at least in one subject, then we can subtract 100 from the number of failed students and we can get the number of students who passed in both. Because if they are just passed in one, then they wouldn't be passed in both. So that's the logic behind this. So if we do with Venn diagram, so we have A and B. Let's take A as as Hindi, number of students failed in Hindi, and this is students failed in English. So first, whenever we are dealing with Venn diagrams, first we should see the common element. So that is 20% failed in both subjects. So here we will have 20. So 20% failed in both Hindi and English. So now 30% students failed in Hindi. So which means that includes this 20. So this just Hindi will have 10. Why? Because as the whole it should be 30. So now if we see this, we have 30 students who failed in Hindi. So totally 30 students failed in Hindi. 10 students failed in just Hindi and 20 students failed in both English and Hindi. In the same way we have English. So 45 students failed in English. So we have 25 here. So 25 students failed in English alone. Because 45 minus 20 gives 25. So if we add these stuff, then we'll have 45. So we have English 45, Hindi as 30. So that's what given here. So then we'll need to find the percentage of students who passed in both. So first we'll find the number of students who failed at least one. That is this and this. If we add them up, we'll get the answer. But what we should do is we should add this 10. That is number of students who failed only in Hindi. Then number of students who failed in both. Then number of students who failed just in English. So if we add all these up, we get 55. Again we are dealing with percentages, so we will have 55 percentages. So 55 percentages of the students have at least failed in one subject. They have either failed in Hindi, in English or in both. So that's the logic behind this problem. If we have just added these 30%, 45%, 20%, then these 20% and the 30%, they both include same students. That is the students failed in both Hindi. And the same case for 45% and 20%. So 20% and if you have put 45 here, then it would have the common students or the students failed in both. We need to calculate. It is like calculating 2 times the same students. So that's why we are splitting them. So first we need to get the intersection term or the common element. Then we should get the other elements. So if we add them up, we have 55%. So 55% is the number of students who have failed in at least one subject. So if we have 100 students, or let's say we have 100%, minus 55, we have 45. So 45% of the students have passed in both subjects. So that's about this problem. So the answer is 45% of the students have passed in both. So the main thing when we are dealing with Venn diagrams is the logic we get from the question. So we need to get all the information from the question first, then we should put then we should accommodate our information to the Venn diagram. So that's what Venn diagram is mostly about. It's the logic you get. So the answer for this is 45% of students are passed in both. So that's it. Thank you.